HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. HD2 Northport and W265CG. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media Station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you can pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I running back coach didn't take biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
That guy John has really now.
Good morning. Welcome into the and Martin Houston live on YouTube. Follow at Martin Houston.
Good this morning. How are you?
As we get things going, I want to remind all of you that you can get in on the conversation at 205 342 9904. 205 342 9904. Xavier, this is, I think, without a doubt, has been kind of a rivalry game within a rivalry in terms of Nick Saban and Alabama for many, many years, even during the time when I was there. Despite how good LSU was, Alabama owned them at home, and they owned Alabama at home. It was a long period there where the home team just couldn't seem to get it right. And then when Nick Saban came here, Alabama began to have even more success. Nick Saban, having been at LSU, created a rivalry. And the importance of this game year in and year out, I think also made this more of a rivalry game. I'd asked earlier in the week, but I have not asked you. Have you ever seen the Tennessee rivalry kind of lost its luster over time, but have you ever seen a rivalry go from how heightened it was just 2 years ago to seemingly how unimportant this game is in terms of let me say it. It is important because Alabama have to win it to stay where they're at. But it's just not. I mean, it's just no excitement looking forward to this game, other than just wanting to see Alabama back on the field.
Without a doubt, it's been a major drop off over 2019 to 2021, and
I can't say that I have seen a mountain peak and a valley so quickly in a rivalry, especially when you think of the name LSU and where they've been over the last 20 years. And from Nick Saban starting it to Les Miles and to Coach O, all three coaches winning national championships there. It's surprising to see how quickly the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, you just mentioned something I hadn't even thought about. What you just said. The last three coaches that have coached at LSU all have national titles.
Yeah.
I mean, what program can say that? I mean, I literally had not thought about that till you just said it. I mean, who? Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, you look at Alabama and all the greatness that they've had. Your team is the only team over a 30-year period to win national championships between Coach Bryant and Coach Saban, and that was Coach Perkins, Coach Curry, Dubose, Shula, Franchione, Price for the few months he was here. So that shows you how they've been able to maintain a certain level of success through coaching changes.
Yeah, and maybe that's why they're so confident that they can, let him coach out the rest of this year and pay him $16-point-something million over the next 4 or 5 years, whatever that buyout arrangement was, and yet still be relevant. And speaking of that relevancy, who do you think that they're going to go with as far as if they had their choice of coaches? And after you give me your guy, how long you think it'll be before that guy has them back relevant and maybe he's even a horse in a trophy?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say right now just because it's still during the season. Of course, names are getting thrown out there. The big two would probably be Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss and Mel Tucker at Michigan State. And the question is, with the success that Mel Tucker's having at Michigan State, if he can continue to ride that, is it worth leaving to come back to the SEC and having to compete against the Nick Sabans, the Kirby Smarts, the Jimbo Fishers of the world, along with Oklahoma and Texas joining the conference in the next couple of years? But then, of course, you look at Lane Kiffin, and he doesn't think, neither of the coaches seem to stay at one place too terribly long, whether that be getting fired or moving on to a better job. But I would probably lean Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss to go there, because I believe he would be able to keep the only Manning that has played in the state of LSU, even though they've resided there for close to 50 years. I think he would be able to switch arts potentially to LSU more than any coach that I've seen named so far.
Wow, that's an interesting take. Speaking of, when you look at, it's interesting. Mel Tucker, probably 2 weeks ago, name would not probably have been mentioned for very many jobs, but now he seems to be a hot ticket because of what he's done with Michigan State. But a guy that I would be interested, because you kind of talk why Mel Tucker, would it be worth it for him to come back? Sometimes these coaches feel like they're better than everybody anyway, so that I don't know that competition would necessarily scare them off, but it was something you'd have to consider, considering where he's at. Is he in a position that he could make Michigan State consistently relevant, or is this an anomaly? Another guy to think about with this LSU matchup, but we really hadn't talked about it that much, but he's one of those guys that was on that same staff with Kirby and Tucker and, of course, Saban, rounding out the top four of the college football playoffs. Mario Cristobal, I mean, and Joe, I'd love to get your thoughts on Mario Cristobal. Would Mario Cristobal be someone that would be a big time threat to Alabama at LSU? Not just because he seems to be a great coach, but man, the guy can flat out recruit.
I don't know if I would leave Oregon because once again, it's how willing are you to have to compete against those big names that are already established in the SEC when it looks like Mario can dominate the Pac-12 for the foreseeable future with the way he can recruit and where he's had Oregon over the last few years.
Joe, you ain't got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Xavier in that take that you will be coming right to Nick Saban's backyard to compete. But I mean, everybody, nobody thinks that they're afraid of it.
Right, and that's yeah.
The coaches in their minds think, "Oh, I'm going to go to LSU. I'm going to build a program, and I'm going to beat him." I don't know if I'd leave Oregon, but I think that if you are going to leave Oregon, LSU's probably one of the top spots to go to if you want to go and compete for a national championship.
And think of it this way. I mean, I know we say Saban, Alabama fans want him to coach forever, and he may, but I think as much as anything, if I'm recruiting right now, if I'm LSU, I'm recruiting the heir apparent to who I think is going to be the next guy up when Saban is no longer there at Alabama. Who's going to be that program? Georgia looks like they're positioned to even make a run while he's there. Well, somebody's going to be that program in the West, and who better to be that program in the West potentially than LSU? So maybe that's the sell. Hey, you're gonna have a couple years where you're gonna have to go head to head with Saban, but Saban ain't gonna be there forever, and you can be already established. Maybe that's the ticket that they're selling right now. That's what I would be selling.
Well, is LSU going to be patient enough to let the next coach ride out Nick Saban's career? They're going to take it on the head and be patient enough to allow the coach to maybe take a few L's?
Well, I don't. Well, I mean, but do you think LSU when you go back, Joe? Yeah, I get what you're saying. But they're not saying, hey, you're going to be the next guy. You're going to have to lose to Saban. They're going to say, hey, we've already shown we can compete with him if we get the right guy and the right formula in here, and then we could become that dominant Alabama program. I don't think they're selling that. Hey, you're going to have to wait till he leaves to win. I think they're selling. Hey, we've shown when Coach O had the right ingredients, he went into Tuscaloosa and won. He just didn't have the leadership. Hey, Cristobal, you have the leadership, man. You the guy. You can, almost what was it? You can do it from the movie. You can do it. But I think that's what they're selling, Joe. And then that somebody's going to be the heir apparent because eventually he's going to walk away. Do you want to still be at Oregon? Do you want to still be at Michigan State? Or do you look 4 or 5 years down the road and would you rather already have been competing and building your program at that point? I mean, I could be wrong. It's just interesting to think about that the last 3 coaches have all won national title. And I don't know if that's ever happened anywhere where 3 consecutive coaches won national titles at the same school. So that's just that's pretty. I mean, you have to think about maybe Miami, Dennis Erickson, and of course Jimmy. Yeah, no, they were at 4 because Coker, I think, Jimmy Johnson, Snellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, Dennis Erickson, and I think was Coker the guy, huh?
Did Butch Davis win one?
I don't know. Coker did, I know, but I'm not sure about Butch Davis. So they may have 4 or 5.
They had 3 in a row.
Maybe
5 in a row in a short window.
It's about the same window. When
you're talking about less than 10 years, they had 3 coaches that won.
Yeah.
LSU 17 from Saban to Orgeron or 16.
Yeah. Yep. But they changed coaches in that. They changed 3 coaches really quick though. From Johnson. Well, they might have had 5 in a row though. I know Coker won 1, and I think Bush Johnson may have won 1. So they may have had 5 coaches in a row. We'll get Joe to help us on that. I'll go back and look, but they may have had 5 in a row in the same length of time. So never mind. Well, it's still impressive, especially in today's college world where supposedly parity is supposed to be what's happening. So outside of Alabama and Clemson, I guess LSU is in that same boat with the Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, and that's kind of been, and Clemson has kind of been all your national titles for the most part in the past. Huh?
If Ryan Day, no, because you have to count the year Fickle was Luke Fickle was there. I was about to say I just forgot his name. The coach at Ohio State in the early 2000s.
Oh, I know the one who Trussell, who yeah.
Trussell won 1. Then you have the 1 year with Luke Fickle as an interim. Then you have Myers, and then Day is playing for national championship.
Yeah, so that's impressive. And while they all doing all of that, Nick Saban steady racking up 6 at Alabama. So there we go. And maybe even playing for 7. Well, playing for 7 will start this week against LSU. We'll talk about some keys to victory. We'll talk about potential players of the game. What's some key matchups you're going to be watching Saturday as Alabama takes on LSU? Do you think there'll be any changes in the lineup this week? So we'll talk about that and more coming back right here on the Martin Houston Show.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic not too bad as we begin our Friday morning. Now, we will have a lot of fans coming into town, so just be careful throughout the weekend. If you see conditions, give us a call. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with an amazing selection, low financial rates, extra rebates, and they really need your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Text tutor to 64,000 and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Now try Babbel free. Just text tutor to 64,000 and start learning a new language today. That's tutor to 64,000. TUTOR to 64,000.
Dell Technologies' biggest business sale of the year has arrived. Step up your vision with top tech up to 45% off during their early access Black Friday event. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Plus, get incredible savings on Windows 11 PCs, along with servers, monitors, and docks, all with free shipping. There's also special financing with Dell Business Credit. Get started by contacting your Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So your headlights are getting dim? With the seasons changing, now's a great time to change them. Upgrading your headlights can ensure you'll be safe and ready to handle darkness and fog. Oh, and we recommend replacing in pairs. That way you won't have uneven lighting over time. You can get all of your lighting needs fast with our next day delivery and free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easy.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
It takes 2 vaccines to help protect you this season, the flu and COVID-19. And now you can get both shots at the same visit. Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky becoming partially sunny today. Tuscaloosa's high 63. For tonight, fair and cold with the low at 41. For the weekend, lots of sunshine tomorrow and Sunday with a warming trend. The high tomorrow 66, the high Sunday at 70. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3240 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 51 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Thank you to Alabama One. Alabama1.org is where you can find out more information about them. Go check them out. That's Alabama1.org with all those great financial services as well as great opportunity to plug into some of the great services and opportunities we have. Speaking of that, we have a grand opening today at our Alberta branch. It's a hybrid location, Alabama One Resource Center, as well as a branch in the Alberta Center, directly across from the Alberta School of Fine Arts, right there in the Piggly Wiggly Shopping Center. Stop by today between 11:30 and 1 for an opportunity to meet and greet our team there. We'd love to have you stop by. Once again, that's alabama1.org, your one source for all your financial needs. It's Alabama One together. All right. Xavier, as we were talking there, going to break, just a lot of different things, but really, when you look at Alabama in this game, it's like I said, the rivalry the game's lost a little bit of its luster this year. Hopefully we can get things back on track where you can't wait till the LSU week, because you know that if you win that game, you're probably, in a catbird seat to be able to, make a run and it's for the ultimate championship of the SEC West. This year, not so much, but still a big game. And so, what do you see? Let's talk through some keys to victory for Alabama. Alabama coming off of a bye week, LSU coming off, and excuse me, and they're coming off a bye week as well. What do you see as keys to victory?
As we said, I don't see LSU as much of a threat this year, but that doesn't mean that they don't have to show up and still play Alabama football. I think if we get out and, stay committed to what we do best, running the ball, making the correct decisions with Bryce throwing the ball, and using his legs, which we all have loved to see him do a little bit more over the last couple of weeks. I don't really see, especially with the injuries that they've had on defense, they're missing four out of their top 5 DBs for this game. No Stingley, no Slot, no Ricks, no Sage Ryan. So I truly believe that we'll be able to throw the ball. It will, as well as they're missing their best defensive lineman, Ali Gay, who was hurt early in the season. So I believe we'll be able to control the line of scrimmage as well on that side. And then when you look at their offense and our defense, you look at the fact that, once again, decimated by injuries. No Keyshawn Butte at wide receiver. Deion Smith, who's been their second leading receiver, he's out this week. they have their run game. Davis Price. If we stop him, I don't really see LSU being able to move the ball effectively on our defense. So I just say come out, play Alabama brand of football, and don't beat yourself.
Yeah, when you look at football, well, actually, we got a caller. Let's get to that, and then we'll come back to those comments. Chuck, you're in with the Martin Houston with X's and O's Sport. Xavier Houston, what's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, father and son. I was calling. I'm first start off. It's something yesterday you were talking about Aaron Anderson committing to Alabama, and somebody, Coach Bryce Brown. He's an alumnus of the school where my parents went to, Grambling State University. He's a young coach. You're talking about him being Nick Saban of high school football here, but let me tell you another guy, the Nick Saban of high school football. Coach Saban knows him quite well. This man is one of the winningest coaches, not only in the state, but in the nation, in the country. J.T. Curtis out of he's the longtime head coach of John Curtis Christian School in River Ridge, Louisiana. That's a suburb of New Orleans in Jefferson Parish by Metairie and Kenner. He's won many state championships. I know Coach Saban knows him. J.T. Curtis is in his 70s, and he just had his 600th victory this season. He's been in state championship games, and also. I wanted to put that out there. Also, some of you all were talking about the University of Miami. You know, Brother Houston, you and I came through the 80s and 90s. We remember that Miami dynasty. It all started with the guy with the pipe, Howard Stellenberger. It was one of Bear Bryant's products. Coached him at the University of Kentucky, and he was on Coach Bryant's staff at Alabama. And that's what happened. He came to Miami. He built that program because Miami was not a powerhouse program. It was just another program. They came close to ending that program. It took him to revive that program. And, you know, he coached the first national championship team in '83 when they beat at '83 season, they beat Nebraska.
Yeah, Miami used to be everybody's homecoming game. They were Alabama's homecoming game sometimes in the 70s.
Exactly. You're exactly right, brother. Houston, and it's great your son is on it to hear all this. And I remember when Jimmy Johnson, when Jimmy Johnson was coaching, they lost the national championship at Penn State. That was Penn State's last national championship, the '86 season. And when Vinny Testaverde, they lost the national championship, but they turned around with Steve Walsh and they beat Oklahoma with Oklahoma had Jamel Holloway, and then came Dennis Dirksen came and they won that national championship. I know that's one. That was that Sugar Bowl. I know Keith McCants was on that team at Alabama.
I was on that team too.
You were on that? Yeah, you sure were on that team. Yeah, you were on
yes.
that team as well. I had things because I was a freshman in high school during that time. And then I know you all did in that Xavier. I remember your dad. I can still see your dad. We played that block on Michael Barrow and Rohan Marley. I can still see it to this day. A young man.
Yeah.
Again, your dad was like an offensive lineman in the backfield.
That's the way, Chuck. I tell people I was an offensive lineman that got to run it every once in a while.
Hey, fullbacks meant a lot, guys. Yeah, I came to this as a young one of the national championship. I was a senior in high school, and I remember Erickson. They had won the national championship. They had won 2 national championships, and those guys came in. And I said these guys came ready to play it. It took them a while to get that program back going. So, Bush Davis, your son brought that up about Bush Davis. Bush Davis didn't win the national championship. What happened? He put that team together, Xavier, and what happened? He left to take the University of North Carolina head football coaching job. Larry Coker was his assistant. Coker took over the team, and he won with Bush Davis's guys that 2001 season.
Yes, and they were dominant. Yeah, and I think they came up short against Ohio State one year too. So,
that controversial game, with Jim Tressel. That's when it was controversial at the end, and that game was the overtime because Miami thought the game had. People were celebrating. They thought that the game had ended. Went to overtime. Maurice Clarett was on that Ohio State team.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, Chuck, thanks for bringing back some of that history, and you're right. Snellenberger, old Bear Bryant, prodigy, and probably was as much like Coach Bryant in terms of the way he kind of ran things as much as anyone, and just putting it out there on the street. He actually was pretty disappointed when they hired Stallings versus him. And if you remember Coach Stallings' first year, you can't tell me that sometimes they don't find ways to make storylines. But remember Coach Stallings' first year, we lost our first 3 games, and he was at Louisville. And he helped build that Louisville program into a respectable program as well. And at the end of that first year, he had a chance to go against Coach Stallings in Louisville, and we were 7-4, and Louisville came in with Browning Nagel, and they put something on us.
Yeah. I watched that game. I was a sophomore in high school during that time. And, I believe this switch you off. Schnellenberger, how he built that Miami program, he had to go into the Liberty City area to get those players because they had never had that many black players on the team. And he built that program up, and it became, look at what happened. And Miami had never been in those areas. And he was not afraid to go in those areas. That was a high crime area.
Yep, sure did. And like I said, he did similar work. Louisville was a laughing stock when he went there, and they've been, relevant and respectful and all that since his time there. And like I said, we helped make him a national. We helped make Louisville a national product with that beatdown we took. They called it the Fiesta Bowl, Chuck. The players on that team call it the Fiasco Bowl. That's the only time. I don't know if it's ever happened any other time, but they took Alabama off television before the game was over. They actually switched to another game, is what we were told. Of course, I never went back and bothered to look at the game. So, all right, thanks, Chuck. Appreciate that.
Go. You all have a great weekend. All right.
You too. Thank you. And see, I know that's not Alabama, LSU, but that's what I love about this show is, that's we were talking about something earlier in the program. For those of you who just tuned in, we were talking about something earlier in the program. We were talking about which program may have had multiple coaches. And Chuck is a historian. He can remember more stuff than I have even known. It's pretty neat to get that perspective. He kind of tied it all together. Not Alabama, Ohio. What's the name? Miami. I'll get it right in a minute. Miami having had, several coaches in a row win national titles, and 3 in a row, and then they had 4 out of 5. Because Butch Davis was between Coker and him. But that was fun reminiscing. What you got, Xavier, before we get to break?
That's an impressive run.
Yeah.
That's an impressive run as far as coaches go still. And Miami's one of Miami's one of the few schools that you can say you grew up watching dominate college football, and that I can say I grew up watching dominate, even though their run didn't go for as long through my childhood.
Yeah, and that was impressive in terms of a program, and that's going to be interesting to see. That's probably one of my most, not rushing Nick Saban, out of Alabama, but post Nick Saban is an intriguing era of Alabama football. Will we maintain, or will we have a fall off like we did post Coach Bryant? We'll see, and will Alabama folks be able to handle it if it does? Coming back on the other side, we'll get Tom. He's holding. We'll also have some follow-up conversation on the keys to victory. Who may be some players of the game? Maybe, hey, you have a key matchup you want to see in this game. And will there be any changes from the bye week? Will there be a new offensive lineman potentially in the mix? We'll talk about that more right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Traffic not too bad as we begin our Friday morning. Now, we will have a lot of fans coming into town, so just be careful throughout the weekend. If you see conditions, give us a call. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with an amazing selection, low finance rates, extra rebates, and they really need your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash.
Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com. Townsquare not only can help you find more local customers online, they'll also help you grow your business to a new level. With premium website services that get you new leads every day and no contracts to sign, there's no better time to join. Not only that, Townsquare also has a dedicated marketing specialist who will be with you every step of the way, making changes that will benefit you and especially your business. It's fast, easy, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. So hurry to mylocalcustomers.com and get your $500 in free advertising today.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Man, it's been, I think, C.J. Watson's statement, the current state of LSU's program. The Friday before Bama, LSU has produced half a show talking about the Miami Dynasty. That kind of tells you the state. I don't even have to ask the question, the state of the rivalry. But we got 3 callers, so we're going to try to work these guys in and work them through. First up is Tom. Tom, you in with the Martin Houston Show and X's and O's, Xavier Houston.
Xavier, Martin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all?
Well, great.
Good. I was thinking about something when y'all were talking about the subject of next coach at LSU.
Yeah.
And also I was listening to y'all about the talent level that's at LSU. For years we've been neck and neck with the talent. Alabama and LSU have been neck and neck for the same kind of talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
the
sir.
Talent level. And the thing about it is, and I think Coach Tucker is interesting to think about as a candidate for LSU. He's one of my favorite people. I don't want him to go to LSU, and the reason I don't want him to go to LSU is that I want him at Alabama. And He's kind of the guy I would like to see step in for Coach Saban. But all that being said, if he goes to LSU, the thing about it is he'll never get out of there because he'll do such a good job that they won't let him leave. And, so we'll never get him. And but you talk about somebody that can go in there and turn that around fast. Just look at his record at Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to think that it's one thing to have 4 coaches on the same staff, but those 4 coaches, the top 4 teams in the country, all of their programs have turned around in 6 years or less.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy part. And he did it. He went from virtually not beating anybody to the next year beating everybody. So yeah, you're right. He turned around quickly, and I don't know that he's brought in any more talent. It just looks like he's just developed the guys he's gotten.
You're right. It's coaching and his ability to coach, and that's the ingredient. I mean, I like him as a person as well, but that's the ingredient that stands out to me. You know, he rolls into Colorado, and that's not an easy job to do what he did. But he rolled in there and turned that around. In my opinion, for Colorado, it would be light years doing what he did in that short period of time.
Yeah.
And then at Michigan State. But the thing about it is, I wanted to ask y'all, this is my question. You see what Brian Harsin done at Auburn this year. Nobody can say that hadn't been a successful campaign that he's done so far this year at Auburn. And I think both of y'all will agree with that. He took what he had, and I think got the most out of it. Well, you go to LSU and you take what you got down there, and you're talking about contending for a conference championship. If you get all that talent channeled into going in the right direction. I'm gonna hang up. I didn't mean to take up.
No, that's fine. I think Harsin has done. He's gotten better each week, but I think Auburn's going to end up 7-5, or maybe 6-6 by the end of the year.
Oh, I hope you're right.
Thanks, Tom. You got anything, Xavier? Go ahead.
I'm gonna move to New Zealand if they win out.
Well, it starts this weekend with Texas A&M. Thanks, Tom. All right. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Xavier, yesterday on one of the shows, I'm thinking I was down with a bearded wonder yesterday evening at the cigar shop. But that there was a prognosticator there or a sports analyst from the desert for being politically correct or whatever. Hey, a gambler. And he said bet the farm on on Alabama and also that Alabama was going to destroy them the first, second, and third quarter. That bet everything you could bet on Alabama. I kind of agree that I'm looking more at this game of being 42-21. What do you think?
I think Alabama's going to break 50. And
okay, but what was you being able to scope?
Oh, no, I think I'm going 50. I said last night on my show 56-17. I think we're gonna run away with it. I think look at what Coach Saban said this week and him talking about this isn't going to be a revenge game, but a get even game.
I heard.
And
yes, sir.
Yeah. And Coach O said some things at the end of that 2019 game that I think Coach Saban is going to send him out the door at LSU with a nice butt whooping on. Yeah, so I think, and some of the older guys, like I talked about yesterday, Brian Robinson, Phil Mathis, talking about remembering that game and remembering the antics of LSU afterwards. I think it's going to get us.
Is get even worse than revenge?
I think it is.
Because, everybody hears that and thinks it's like, he's like, well, we're not making a big deal. To me, get even is like worse than revenge. Revenge is you just want to right the wrong. Like if you beat me, I'm just gonna beat you. But if I get revenge, I want to put on you exactly what you put on me. And they came in here and they had us, man. They made us look bad for a lot of that game. They made us look like we did not belong in big boy football. So that's an interesting statement. Pat, you got anything else before I let you go?
Yeah, real quick. I disagree with the last caller that yes, I like Mel Tucker. I think Mel Tucker is a great coach. However, that LSU wants to appease the Mannings, and I look for them to do whatever it takes to get Lane to LSU, because with Arch Manning and Lane at LSU, they might be able to compete with Coach Saban.
Yeah, well, if they're trying to get if Manning is part of their decision making, and it's hard to think that a college would make a decision, Pat, off of getting one kid. But when that one kid when that one kid could turn your program completely around, then you may consider, because you're looking at 3 years. And now coaches' lifespan 3 to 5 years, and you got a great coach if you keep them that long. That's why I say Joe Brady is another guy, because of what Joe Brady did with Burrows. You can't overlook it. You just can't ignore how this kid was an average quarterback. And in 1 year in his system and with his coaching and play calling, it translated, and now that kid's confident. He's playing at a great level in the pros. But I think it was that Joe Brady impact. So don't be surprised if that's the two guys I said that I think they'll go after, and that's the two guys I think Nick Saban don't want in LSU. Thanks, Pat.
Exactly. Thank y'all, fellas. Have a blessed day.
Appreciate it. Robert, thanks for your patience. You're in with the Martin Houston Show with X's and O's. Xavier Houston, what's on your mind, sir?
So 75 for Auburn, man. You got them collapsing down the street pretty bad.
Well, they got Texas A&M. Do you think that who you got in that one?
Oh, I know. I'm picking that for a loss.
And then they have us. And
that's just two.
But they've already lost 3.
No.
Okay, no. I was wrong. It was 8-4. No, they'll probably beat Mississippi State in South Carolina, so it'll be 8-4. I miscounted. I miscalculated. That you're right. 8-4. 8-4. My bad. Good call. Way to call me out on my own show, Robert. Mississippi State might beat them, but it's at Auburn, so.
Yeah, that's possible. Mississippi State, that's no joke. They could lose that one. So
yeah.
So your 5 could still be it's still on the table.
Yeah.
Hey, like you guys were saying about the LSU game. Last year was the revenge game. I mean, no, the get even game. Last year got even. This year is going to be, like you said, the right to wrong, revenge is the right to wrong.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the right to wrong game. We'll still beat you down. That's just as bad, but it won't be because it won't be to get even. We did that last year. This year is the right to wrong.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Xavier. I'm looking for this. For one thing, Alabama's got to show that they've got the moxie back.
Yeah.
And they deserve to be the number 2 team in the nation. You can't keep going out of here half-step and guys missing, playing out of position and all that stuff, and still want to classify yourself as number 2 team.
Yeah.
Because LSU, against this team is the mediocre like this, the beat down has to come.
Yeah.
It has to come early and often.
And I think if we don't, I think you could see Alabama slip in the poll. If Michigan State wins and Alabama struggles against LSU, they won't be number 2. They'll be number 3. If Michigan State goes out and plays well, and Alabama, doesn't dominate. I think Alabama has to dominate pretty much down the stretch to remain the number 2 team if these other teams keep winning. Even though I would still take Alabama over anybody but Georgia right now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and it's more like Nick Saban said. It's more for you play to you. Don't keep playing to your opponent.
Right.
These guys keep getting caught up playing to their opponent,
yep.
not to themselves, not playing their best.
And that's leadership, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's leadership.
Exactly. And of course, Mr. Anderson is the on defense is the big guy, showing leadership, and of course Bryce Young on offense. We're going to need more than those two guys stepping up. Although Mechie's getting there, Mechie's getting in that second year, and Brian Robinson he's in full-blown beast mode right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So they're getting there, and it's just a matter of getting everything on at the same time for 4 quarters. This time now I disagree with them saying it has to be 4 quarters. I mean, that Mississippi State game, that looks like 4 quarters to me. But I show you what you can do when they play 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And so it's time to beat these teams down the stretch. And Auburn, I'm just kidding. The reason I'm not worried about the Iron Bowl is, again, I'll agree with you, Mark. Auburn's overrated, and their comeuppance is coming this weekend. And secondly, if you can't beat Auburn in Jordan-Hare, then you don't deserve it. Then you're not playing. Either you beat everybody else play Georgia. I don't want to see you against Georgia. That means you just don't have it yet. If you would just lose to Georgia, so we better be able to beat Auburn in Jordan-Hare, and I'm pretty confident we will. I see that coming as well. Real quick before I go, it is amazing how the similarity between LSU after their championship game and Auburn after their championship victory. It's like they just collapsed afterwards. It's like, you had the ball and it collapsed.
And that's what you call the difference between a program and a good team. Auburn had a good team. They're not a great program. LSU, right now with their leadership, I think they can be a great program. But under Orgeron, they were a great. He in his stint, it was a great team, not that he ran a great program. And that's the scary part. That's the scary part about LSU. You think about LSU, that if there was no Nick Saban, Les Miles, who I do not think is a great world beater coach, would have had at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 national titles at LSU, because Nick Saban either beat him and went on to win it, or beat him and kept him from getting in it. And then he won one, and then he beat him in one of the national titles. So you take that, and then you take Coach O, once again, not another world beater, Robert, and when it comes to coaching, but still, when he put together the right staff, bam, he was in a national title game and winning it. And at that time, it was just absolutely crazy to think about. So that's the scary part. That's the scary part about getting a Saban disciple who knows how to implement the process at LSU. That's a scary proposition, in my opinion. Thanks, Robert. You got anything else? We got to get ready to get out of here.
Like you said, Nick Saban, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and Tom Brady. Those are 4 guys that the other team could say, if it weren't for those guys, what we would have done.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Dabo Sweeney would have had like 4 national titles by 50. So yeah, absolutely. So all right, thanks, Robert. Xavier, you gave your score earlier. You got LSU winning. Alabama winning 56-17. What about Texas and Auburn, real quick? Texas A&M and Auburn.
I'm taking Texas. Taking Texas A&M. I think the momentum that they picked from beating Alabama has carried on, and I don't think that they can. I don't think Auburn can stop that 2-headed monster with the running back that they have, as well as that big tight end over the middle.
Yep, and I got Alabama. I got 52, man. I'm thinking LSU's going to struggle. They may get 13 to 17 points. So I got it 52 to 13, and won't be surprised if they don't get that much. I really think this is going to be lopsided. And I got A&M taking care of business against Auburn. Auburn to make it interesting early, but not able to sustain. CJ Watson said 56-7, so he's kind of thinking the same way I am. Hey, that's X's and O's Xavier Houston. You can check him out on X's and O's Sports on all of the major social media platforms. X's and O's Sports, especially a great follow on Facebook and Twitter. Give him a like, give him a share. He'll be back with me again next week as we continue to move on. I'm Martin Houston. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, chatters, interviewers, followers, and thanks to the great producers that make this happen. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.